A superb undefeated 100 from Chris Nash meant that Sussex had the better of the third day of their latest championship match with Somerset. The game is in the balance going into the final day, with Nash the man Somerset need to get early to force the win. Somerset began the day leading by 222 runs on 52 for 1, and Errol Sapire began it with an early boundary. But the Sussex fight back began early as Dwayne Smith bowled James Hildreth for 23 at 82 for 2. Sapire stuck around long enough to score his 50, but he was then dismissed for 50, caught behind. Xander de Bruyne then went for 5, a rare failure for him this season, caught a baton pad by Michael Yardy as Payesh Chawla began another mightily impressive day. Much has been written about Craig Kieswetter this summer, but this was not to be his day as he edged Smith to slip for 7, 112 for 5. Justin Langer just loves battles such as these though, and he was determined that his side would pose a testing target. Alas, Peter Trigo couldn't help him as he gave Chawla his 8th wicket of the match, leg before, for 5. And Langer then unusually gave his wicket away, clipping Smith to square leg for 33, Somerset 140 for 7, a lead of 310. Sussex used to ask a lot of Mushtaq Ahmed, but in 20-year-old Chawla they've found another brilliant leggy. He was too good anyway for Max Waller. And he collected his 10th wicket of the match, but Alphonso Thomas found him too difficult to read too. Thomas made 22 out of 170 for 9, and in spite of a bit of a late flurry from David Stiff, Somerset were all out for 178 as Charles Willoughby was bowled for 0, giving Chawla match figures of 11 for 170, 6 for 52 second time around. That left Sussex a stiff target of 349 to win their second successive championship match, and Nash started off full of confidence, often chasing tough targets such as these. Yardy is the man to watch, but it was Nash who began the best. In fact, the Sussex skipper fell for the second time in the game as Willoughby had him leg before for 5. Murray Goodwin just hasn't got going this season, and Thomas got another leg before as he went for 5 with Sussex at 40 for 2. They were in a heap of trouble, but they still had Nash at the crease, and he looked fantastic. Since coming back from injury, save for a failure in the first innings of this match, he's been in great form, and he was certainly continuing that, well supported by Ed Joyce. Nash flowed past his 50, leaving Joyce to settle in as he sprayed the ball to all parts of Hove. Joyce, after a naturally circumspect start to his innings, grew in confidence too. Lots of wickets had fallen in the first 2 3/4 days, but the two batsmen were realising that there were still runs to be had on this wicket. They took the score to 134 when surprisingly Joyce was dismissed, bowled by Trigo for 30. 205 was still needed in a game which was getting closer. Nash was exceptional and went to a quite brilliant 100 off just 150 balls with 18 sumptuous boundaries. He'd scored 2/3 of his side's runs. He really could have done with Matt Pryor being with him at the start of the final day, but he was well caught by Sapire at short leg for 11 just 10 minutes before the close. But Nash hit his 19th 4 before stumps as he finished on 111 not out of his team's 169 for 4, and he set up a fascinating final day. Sussex go into it needing another 180 runs to win. Somerset needs 6 wickets and are probably just on top, but only just.